Okay, hello everybody. So I'm going to show you the major form of Latin-esque church music, and just mostly the basics of it. You don't have to worry about the complexities or the colors that you can add towards Songo, but if you understand the basics, you can start adding little things here and there. So basically, let's just start with C major, which will be the 3rd fret of the A string. So depending what type of bass you have, this is a 5-string bass. It will be the 3rd string away from me, or well, the 3rd string, and the 3rd fret of the A string. So basically, for major chord or major scale songs, they all have the same sort of format that I'm showing you here, where the index finger would be the root, and then the pinky or the ring finger, depending how long your fingers are, would be the perfect 5th interval away from that root note. And you will have this form when you're playing whatever notes is required for the scale itself. So just to make it easier, I'm just going to introduce mostly just say notes first, so that you could get the understanding of what I'm trying to say. So we're playing C, and we're going to play the perfect 5th interval away from C in a syncopated fashion, which would be the G notes. So you will have this you'll have that sort of like bum 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 feel to it. And that's pretty much what gives it the Latin sound, or the Songo sound, or the Spanish sound, however you want to really classify it. But basically, if you just have this form, that's literally all you need for playing the major style of it. The minor style, you will see how it looks. So basically, you have your C here, your G here, and your 2 fingers are going to go back and forth like that, giving the syncopated feel. Again, you have to listen to a lot of Songo songs or a lot of Spanish songs to really understand the importance of the rhythm of this. Because like other people would like to just go on the accented clap beats of the song, which would be is kind of boring, and it sounds more like I'm in the countryside and I need like some sort of beer bottle to blow into. So in all honesty, try to go for the syncopated style constantly, so that it will be more that people could be a little bit more appreciative to how you're diversifying your song palette, in other words. So there's also another way to play this form, which is basically playing the 5th down here instead, because this is also G, the 3rd fret of the E string. See how easy that looks? Just like moving up and down. The thing is, the reason why I keep this form is because in major songs, certain major songs like to do the movement of the ascending 4ths or the descending 5ths, so that it sounds more like, I'll show you what that looks in a moment. But basically, I keep this form so that whenever I slide up, it will be a little bit easier to move around. But other people, especially in the verses of the song, would play that, which is completely valid and is good to do. Basically, the important part is just the syncopation or the feel of the movement between these 2 notes, the root of the note and the perfect 5th interval away from the note. Okay, so since this is C and G, for verses it will be usually the 1 of the major scale, which would be C in this case, since we're playing in C major, and the 2 or the 5 of the C major scale. So it could be G major chord, or the D minor chord, but you don't hear the minor form of D for bass. So basically it will sound like this. I play from 1, which is C, to a 5, which is G, so playing that same sort of like power chord like progression between the two. So I'll just show you that. The C, perfect 5th of C, now to the 5, which is G, to the perfect 5th of G, which is D. See how I kind of transition between the two strings here? So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. You could also, like I said before, introduce the 2, which is D, and play the perfect 5th of D, which is A. So it's perfectly valid. And if you want to really spice it up, so you have the 1 and the C and the G here. You could go to the 2, which is D, then play the A, which is the perfect 5th interval away from D, and then play G afterwards. Instead of playing D again, you play G instead. So in other words, you play the perfect 4th away from the 2 root, so that you can get that nice feel to it. So everything else is just kind of colored in, but you could kind of leave that there, then go to the root of that chord, then back down to your 1 of the scale. So here it is again. And I just added a chromatic step in there just for funsies. So there's a lot you could actually do with just this form in the verse of the Songo. You can do a lot of things to it, especially adding a lot of chromatics. And along with that, you can also add the octaves of the root of the chord that you're playing. So C, you can play the octave here, so you could do that, or just play it normally without any sort of funky esque thing to it. But regardless, basically you have that. Now for the chorus of a majority, or actually no, for a few Songo songs, it would be the ascending 4ths or descending 5ths of the song itself. So basically you're going to go to the 4, then you go to the 5, which would be G, so like that. So 4, 5, 3, to the 6, which would be right behind 3. And again, like, you're still keeping this sort of power chord form, no matter what you're playing within the Latin song, for a major scale, to be precise. So again, from 4, 5, then 3, then 6, which is right behind the 3, then 2, which would be already memorized to be here, then 5, which is right behind 2, then 1. And I play the octave there because it's fun. So anyways, a lot of it is just like experimenting, but the main gist is just the rhythm and to have that sort of root perfect 5th form always, so that you can have that bouncy Spanish feel to it instead of the country sound, which would be, you want to have that sort of syncopation where and the reason why I say some Songo songs would use this is just that a majority of other Songo songs would just bounce between the 1 and the 2, or the 1 and the 5, or they even add 1, 4, 5 to it. So sort of things. And again, like a lot of these added colors that I put to it is just simple chromatic notes or notes in between two notes that I want to play. And that's not in the scale, but it adds a lot more flavor to it, so it doesn't sound as stale as it would be. So it adds a lot more to it. So hopefully this works out. If it doesn't, just let me know, and I will just try my best to answer your questions.